Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be kicking off my annual makeup collection and declutter series. I've got 5 videos coming your way this week, going through my entire makeup collection. We're going to be looking at basically every single product that I own. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts, what's good, what's not so good, and anything that I'm either not using or not loving or that's old as heck and really should be thrown away. I'm going to be decluttering all of that and making some room for new stuff in my collection. Now, I typically share these videos in like the same order that I put products onto my face. So today we're going to be going through my base products, you know, powders, foundations, primers, concealers, setting sprays, all that kind of good stuff. Tomorrow should be blush, bronzer, and highlight. Wednesday, I think, is going to be eyeshadow palettes, which should be pretty epic. Then on Thursday, we'll be doing the rest of my eye makeup and brow stuff, glitters, and all that kind of good jazz. And then Friday will be lip products. Now I'm just gonna forewarn you guys that all of these videos this week are going to be super long. I could have filmed individual videos on like every single type of product, but then I would have like a month's worth of videos instead of a week. So each individual video is going to be really long. Depending on your preferences, that could be a good or a bad thing. If you're someone that doesn't have time to sit down and watch a really long video, I'm going to have timestamps in the description box so you can jump ahead to whatever section you're most interested in, or if you're in the mood to just sit down and binge some good old decluttering goodness, you can hang out with me for the next like 45 minutes. That being said, I'm sure you guys are like, Lauren, let's just get this party started. So let's head on over to my base product collection.
Alright guys, so this is what we're going to be covering today. All of my base products, my primers, foundations, setting sprays, setting powders, powder foundations, and concealers. Basically everything that's not blush, bronzer, and highlight that goes on the face. And this truthfully is probably the most reasonable part of my collection, so I don't think I'm gonna have to do a ton of decluttering here, but we'll go through everything, what I like, what I'm keeping, and maybe slim things down a little bit.
Alright, so let's start out with primers. There's a pretty good mishmash of things here. I've got some blurring primers, I've got some that are a little bit more illuminating, a lot of sunscreen based primers, which are kind of the ones I'm most concerned about, whether or not they're too old, and then a few that are a little bit more for mattifying. So I do like to have a variety of primers on hand to use for different reasons, so there's probably not a lot I'm going to declutter here just because I like to have some options, but there are a couple I know for sure I'd like to get rid of from my collection. So the first thing right off the bat that I know I'm going to be decluttering is this Dermalogica Skin Perfect primer. I do like this. It is a more moussey textured primer. It kind of fills in pores and blurs the look of skin, hence the whole Skin Perfect effect. It also has SPF 30, so it helps to prevent against sun damage and premature aging and all that good stuff. It's very expensive, as Dermalogica products are, so I don't think I would run out to repurchase this, but I did enjoy it while I had it. Now, while I've used this a bit, as you can see, I do have a lot of product left in here. However, the expiration date for the sunscreen says December 2018. So considering the fact that I have so many other sunscreen-based primers, I don't want to continue to try to use this up and then let all my other ones expire as well. So I'm going to, unfortunately, have to be passing this guy along, but we had a good run while it lasted. While we're on the topic of sunscreen-based primers, I absolutely love this one. It is the Coola Daydream Mineral Primer. I've talked about this a number of times before on my channel, that it is very similar to the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. To me, it's kind of a dupe, except it has more sunscreen. This one has SPF 30, and it has these other like skincare benefiting ingredients in it, and it's less expensive. Basically, all wins in my book, so I am going to keep this one in my collection, continue to use it, and I probably would repurchase this instead of the Hourglass in the future. Now, I do also have this product here from Coola. This is their Mineral Sunscreen Unscented Matte Tint. So technically it's not a primer. They consider it a BB cream, but it has such light coverage that I don't typically wear it on its own. I typically wear it underneath other products that have a little bit more coverage. Although if you were going for that no makeup look, you definitely could use a product like this. It's something you kind of really have to shake up with all the like natural ingredients in here. It has a tendency to separate, but the texture is that very, very silky, almost a little bit silicone-y type texture. It's very smoothing on the skin. And again, it provides like a tiny bit of tint, but not really much in the way of coverage. And it again has SPF 30. Of the two products, of the two Coola primers, I really like the Daydream one, which is a true primer. Again, it doesn't have any tint, and this one does, so I probably would continue to use the Daydream over this one, just because I think this makes me a little bit more greasy. But it is nice as like a light product to reach for, especially in the summer months when you don't want to necessarily have a lot of like heavy base products on and it's hot and you're sweaty and whatnot. So this is pretty much brand new. I've barely used it, and it expires in September of 2021. So I've got a lot of life left in here. So I think I'm going to hold on to this, use it. If I find that at the end of this summer I haven't really used this product, I probably would pass it along to a friend so that way they can get some use out of it. But for now, I'd like to keep it in my collection. This Coats Face Tinted Sunscreen is a very similar product. This one has more SPF, but it is again a mineral sunscreen. Something you're gonna see, I basically do not have any chemical sunscreen products in my makeup collection because I don't like them. They tend to irritate my skin, so I'm a mineral sunscreen person all the way. And this brand is a mineral sunscreen. It's 100% free of parabens and oils and things that may clog your pores. This is supposed to be water resistant up to 80 minutes. And again, this is new. I got it at Gen Beauty back in the fall, and I really haven't had a chance to use it yet. So this is something I'm going to be holding on to hopefully get some use out of in the warmer months. Now, despite the fact that I have oily skin, I actually do really enjoy the Hangover RX primer. This is almost more like a moisturizer to me, or a lotion. It has that same kind of texture. It doesn't have any silicones in it. It's very hydrating and lightweight on the skin. So I actually really like this sometimes instead of moisturizer to prep my skin for foundation. Because even if you're oily, you still need to have some moisture in your skin so your makeup glides on nice and smoothly. So I am definitely going to continue to hold on to this guy. I also am trying to use up this Dr. Brandt Pores No More Luminizer Primer. I got this about a year ago, so I've had it for a while, but I still have a fair amount of product left in the tube, and it seems to be perfectly fine. Nothing about the formula has changed yet. And I do like to use this more in the fall and winter months. Right now, my skin is much drier than it is in the summer, probably just because the air around here in Connecticut is so much more dry. So I can get away with wearing these more creamy, luminizing primers. They kind of help breathe a little bit more life into my skin. And I really like this one because it doesn't have any shimmer in it. It's not like a glowy primer, even though it's luminizing. It's more of this like tinted kind of lotion that it doesn't add any sparkle or sheen. It just kind of gives your skin a healthy bit of glow. So I like this. I have been wearing it a bunch more recently and will be trying to finish it up this year. You all probably know how I feel about my Ren Perfect Canvas silicone-free skin finishing serum. This is expensive as heck, but it is fantastic for helping to control oil and shine, and it also has no silicones. So if you're trying to pare down silicones in your makeup routine, this is a great option to reach for. It's got a bunch of fruit extracts and great ingredients in it. So I've been using this a little bit less lately because I've been less in need of oil control, but I am sure as soon as the weather warms up, I'll be reaching for this guy again. Now, these 4 primers are probably the ones I reach for least in my collection, so I'm kind of hemming and hawing as to whether or not I want to keep them. I have the Cover FX Blurring Primer, this H2O Plus Beauty Rapids Probiotic Mattifier, the IT Cosmetics Anti-Aging Armor, and the Catrice Prime and Fine Pore Refining Anti-Shine Base. So this primer, I really feel like it doesn't really do much of anything, and I think the only reason I've kept it is to have a drugstore primer on hand, but I don't really use it all that much. I didn't really find that it did a whole lot in the way of refining pores or controlling shine. It's more of a lotiony texture, which I don't know, I just am not, again, a huge fan of. I just really feel like it doesn't really do very much. So this is something I may just declutter. I haven't really found a drugstore primer that I've gotten along with super well. So if you guys have any recommendations of ones you really, really like, let me know. But I think this is something, despite the fact that I don't have another drugstore primer, I'm just gonna get rid of. I think I might keep the H2O Plus Beauty one. I haven't used this one as much, and it does have these extra probiotic ingredients that are supposed to have a skincare benefit for you as well. And I have found it works decently well with my foundations. It doesn't cause any pilling or anything weird. So this one, I know I picked up last year. It was sent to me from the brand, so it's not super old. So I think I will continue to hold on to this guy. This blurring primer, though, I'm feeling like a little bit on the fence about it, mostly because it is such a silicone-y primer, and it does blur your pores. It will make your skin look very smooth, but I feel like these kinds of primers tend to make me shiny more quickly than a lot of other primers. So have I reached for this in a while? Not really. Do I need to keep it? Probably not. So despite the fact that it's an expensive product and something I got in BoxyCharm that I was excited about, that's not really justification to keep it. Then finally this guy, which is the IT Cosmetics Anti-Aging Armor. This has more sunscreen in it than any of the other products I mentioned before, and it's a mineral sunscreen. I got it basically to act as my daily sunscreen last year, but I have no idea how old it is and or when it expires because I cannot find any information on the bottle anywhere. So I kind of feel like, I don't know what to do with this. This does make me kind of greasy as far as a sunscreen goes. It's got a very almost oily feeling to it. I think if you had dry skin, it would work really awesomely, but just as someone with oily skin, I struggled with this a little bit in the summer. Now that it's winter, maybe I won't have as much of a problem with that. Maybe this would be good for my no makeup days, but I did keep another bunch of like tinted sunscreen type products, and that is kind of what this is. As you can see, it does have like a little bit of a tint to it, and it's very, very liquidy. You need to really like shake it up. I didn't do that, which was my bad. But like, as you can see, it's just got this very shiny kind of consistency to it, which makes me less likely to reach for it. Honestly, maybe there is someone else out there that will use this and enjoy it, because I don't think it would be expired yet. So maybe I'm just best off passing this guy along. It cost me an arm and a leg when I bought it, but if I'm not using it, the money's already spent. And then there were foundations. This I have pretty strong feelings about what I want to keep and what I want to get rid of, so I think we'll be able to move through it fairly quickly. Y'all know the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Foundation is like one of my holy grail favorites. I have two shades. This is my summer shade. This one, Macadamia, is actually too light for me even in the winter, so I mix the two of them together to get my perfect shade at this time of year. But yeah, these are not going anywhere. It is full coverage, but very lightweight feeling on the skin, and it's mattifying. So as someone that's oily, I really like how shine-free this stays on me for many, many hours, and it just makes your skin look, as the name suggests, super, super flawless. I'm also going to be keeping my Pure Lisse Perfect Glow BB Cream. Funny story, when I bought this at Gen Beauty, I don't think I realized I was buying the Perfect Glow version. I think the original is a little more mattifying than this. This was a new formula, and maybe that's why they were selling it at Gen Beauty. I didn't realize they were different, but I'm pretty sure that they are. I have to like double check on that. So I like this. It is quite glowy though. Like, it doesn't make me so overly crazy shiny that I feel like a grease ball when I wear it, but if you liked that more dewy look, you'll probably love this. I had a sample of the original BB cream, so when I bought this, I think I was thinking I was buying that, if you know what I mean. So, gonna use this up. I like it. It has SPF 30, all physical sunscreens. It leaves a really nice tint on your skin. This is perfect for days when I'm wearing a more minimal or more natural makeup look. So, it is kind of like the BB cream that I have on hand right now. I really like the IT Cosmetics one as well. I just haven't repurchased that one in a little bit. So, like this, gonna keep using it, is a current staple of mine. I also really have been enjoying the ColourPop No Filter foundation. This one is very similar to the Laura Mercier in consistency. It's very liquidy and has a lot of pigment, but it's very light on the skin. It doesn't have like a thick, creamy texture, which I've been really enjoying lately. Now this shade is a bit too dark for me in the winter, so I've been mixing it with the Bare Minerals Bare Pro foundation I picked up from TJ Maxx a few months back, and I actually really like this as well. Again, very similar consistency, kind of that more liquidy, lightweight texture. Has decent coverage, but is very, very thin on the skin and doesn't feel like you're wearing a lot of makeup. So I've been basically pairing these two together. I've been really liking the finish on it, so gonna keep these in my collection. And I would consider buying this again, but in my like actual shade next time. Something I know I want to get rid of is this Motives Liquid Powder Mineral Foundation. I'm kind of over it. I don't feel like the shade match is super great on me. It was fine. I mean, it provides decent coverage and it doesn't look bad on this skin, but it wasn't the most oil controlling product. I like that it had mineral sunscreen in it and not chemical, but again, I've had this for a while. I haven't been reaching for it, so I think it's about time that I pass this guy along. Now, if you saw my recent video about the CoverGirl Matte Ambition Foundation, you will know that I realized by the end of that video that it's pretty much identical to this guy, which is the CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made. I don't really care for this foundation, if I'm being honest. It's a bit thick in texture. It leaves these little white dots all over my face. It looks all right when you first put it on, but I don't feel like it holds up particularly well on my skin, especially in the summer when I'm really oily. Like, it just falls apart after 4 or 5 hours, which, let's be serious, for the average person, if you're getting up, going to work, you're gonna be in it for at least 8-9 hours. So you want makeup that will hold up for at least until you get home and have a chance to touch it up. So yeah, I think I am going to pass this along. Maybe I'll have a friend that would like to try it, that the shade would match, and maybe the foundation would work better for them, just because the formula, if you're not so crazy oily like me, maybe it would be better. But yeah, I wasn't super impressed by this, so I don't really feel the need to take up space in my collection with it anymore. Now, if you want a really great drugstore foundation, this is my favorite, is the Maybelline Superstay. This is extremely full coverage, and it's different in texture from the Laura Mercier in that this is thicker. It's not quite as liquidy, but I feel like the finish on the skin is kind of similar. Now, this shade 220 Natural Beige is more of my summer shade. It's maybe more of my like have a super tan in the summer shade. So I'd kind of like to actually pick up another one of these in a lighter shade so that way I can kind of mix and match throughout the year to get my perfect color. But yeah, this is like $10 or less. Really great coverage if you're oily. Would definitely recommend. This is something new that I'm testing, so I'm gonna be holding on to it. It's the Revlon Natural Finish Anti-Pollution Foundation, and I don't hate this actually. I was kind of curious with my oily skin how it would work because it is a natural finish product, but I don't find it to be crazy greasy on me. I don't think it's as long wearing as like the Maybelline or even the ColourPop. This, I would say, after like 6 hours or so, does start to break down a little bit. It requires a little more maintenance for it to look good, but it's a nice like medium coverage type product for a day where you want to look more natural and like not full glam. So I've been enjoying wearing this. I'm going to continue reviewing it this month, and I'll probably be giving you guys my full thoughts in my January beauty report. And then the last 3 foundations I have here are the Milani Conceal and Perfect and the Kokie Skin Perfect HD Foundation. Now, this is where things get a little tricky for me because I have enjoyed the Milani Conceal and Perfect for such a long time, but I wore it a lot more in December, and what I felt was that it's just very heavy on the skin. It's a very thick foundation, it's very full coverage, and it looks really beautiful, especially like on camera, but as far as wearing it day to day, I don't like it as much as I used to, and I think it's just because my preferences have changed. I tend to like much thinner, lighter products now, and if I want to go with something more creamy and hydrating, I tend to reach for a BB cream that has a little bit less coverage. So I don't know, I actually may end up decluttering these. I mean, the creamy vanilla, I've used almost all of it up. I've gone about halfway through warm beige, and I would mix these two together throughout the year to get the right shade for me, but I don't think I would miss these in my collection if they weren't there anymore, just because I have so many other foundation products I've been enjoying more. And then finally, we have the Kokie Skin Perfect HD Foundation. And this guy is nice. It's got a natural finish, medium coverage that's buildable to a more full coverage. It's very much a foundation that makes your skin looks like skin, and I think if you had normal to combination skin, you would probably love this. As an oily person in like the height of summer, it's definitely not shine controlling enough for me, but I haven't reached for this in the fall and winter, so I kind of feel like maybe I should revisit this at this part of the year and see what I think. I don't want to declutter it just yet. I kind of feel like at the end of this year, this will be old enough that I shouldn't keep it past like 2019, but for now, I think just to have another affordable recommendation to use as well, I'd like to hold on to this guy. Now, before we move on to concealer, I have a couple of powder foundations to share with you guys. Y'all know how I feel about my Bare Minerals Bare Pro. It's one of my favorite powder foundations, and this current compact is on its last legs. I'm trying to use it up. And as you can see, I've already repurchased a backup. This has been in my stash for a while. I grabbed it while they were having like some crazy 10-point multiplier at Ulta. So this is pretty much all set. This is going to be gone very shortly. You'll see it in my empties soon. Then I have the Wander Beauty Wanderlust Powder Foundation. I am obsessed with this. This is looking mad grimy right now because I use it all the time. But essentially, this is just a very, very creamy powder foundation. It provides beautiful coverage. It's very nicely wearing on the skin. It doesn't make me look shiny, but it also isn't like flat and cakey and matte either. It's kind of the best. So this is something I have a feeling I will repurchase again in the future. I think I might like this better than the Bare Minerals, which is crazy to hear coming out of my mouth. Now, I had on a whim purchased this Found Mattifying Powder Foundation last year. I tested it out a bit, and it was okay. I was kind of hoping to find a dupe for the Bare Minerals. I feel like this looked a little more heavy, a little more cakey on my skin. It got shiny a little bit faster than the Bare Minerals, so I didn't like immediately fall in love with it. And I know Maybelline is releasing a new powder foundation version of their Superstay liquid foundation. I'm very curious to try that. So maybe what I'll do is declutter this guy, make some room for a new drugstore powder foundation, and explore that kind of area of the makeup world a little more this year. And then this is my concealer collection, which is, you know, more than any one human needs, but I feel like as far as a beauty influencer goes, is not, you know, totally insane. I honestly probably am not going to do a whole bunch of decluttering here because many of these are on their way out. I'm trying to finish up several of these, so I have a feeling they're going to be naturally leaving my collection in the next month or two. So let me just kind of give you a rundown of what's here and why I like this stuff. The Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer was a big hit of 2018, and for good reason. It's creamy, it provides amazing coverage without being too heavy, it doesn't crease, it doesn't look dry and cakey on your under eyes. It's great, I like it, and even though it's very expensive, each of these bottles retails for $29, you get half an ounce of product, which is half as much as a full foundation and kind of unheard of in the concealer world. So, of all the shades, I was sent the entire collection from Too Faced. I ended up only keeping two, my summer shade and my winter shade. So I have vanilla and golden beige. So I'm going to keep these. I know I use them. Right now I'm using vanilla, but I'm sure I will return back to this guy once I have more of a tan. Now, before the Too Faced Born This Way came into the world, you all probably know Shape Tape was my holy grail concealer, and I do still really, really like it. I bought a backup. I was able to get it at half price. I couldn't resist, but I am trying to make my way through this tube right here. This is in the shade Light Medium Honey. I actually decided to repurchase in Light Medium Sand. I think this shade is going to be better for me. But yeah, so I'm not going to declutter this or either of these yet, but this is something I feel like you can't really tell looking at the bottle how much I've used up. But I've used a fair amount, and I feel like it's something I will reasonably be able to declutter out of my collection by actually emptying it within the next like 2-3 months. I also am getting so close to finishing up this Bare Minerals Bare Pro Stick Concealer that I can't open, apparently. So let me show you guys. This is all the product I have left here, so I'm getting really close to the end. It's funny, when I first got this product, I didn't love it because I was trying to use it as an under eye concealer. And as an under eye concealer, I don't think this is the best product. It's a little bit thick, kind of almost like a stick foundation. But on the rest of the face, like to cover up blemishes, it's amazing because to me, it is very much like a stick concealer in mini form that you can be more precise with. So I've been using this a ton on the days where I wear, like, let's say a BB cream or a light coverage base. Then I can just go in where I need the extra coverage with this guy, kind of spot conceal, and it blends beautifully into those more creamy products. I think the other issue is that when I first got this, I was using it more with matte foundations that were almost more dry on the skin or dried down, and I feel like the texture of this being a little more dry doesn't glide as nicely over really matte foundations. I feel like it pairs best with something that's a little bit more creamy in texture. The other thing you can use this for that's amazing that I also have done a lot is spot concealing on the face before I go in with a powder foundation. So I'll lay this down on the skin that's primed without any foundation on it yet, then go in over it with the powder to like blend and set everything, and that works amazingly. So this has ended up being a little bit of a hero for me. It went from something I didn't really love to something that I think I would repurchase again because I obviously have used it a ton. Now another stick type product that I've been using a lot is this Wander Beauty Dualist Concealer. Now this has a stick on one side and then it's a liquid concealer on the other. I have the shade medium. This is great for concealing all over the face for me. I don't really, again, use stick concealers as much on the under eye. I prefer a liquid in that area. I don't love the liquid concealer in here, and maybe part of the problem is the shade. Because I have medium, it's just dark on my under eyes. It's not light and brightening. I almost wish I could have this stick concealer with the light like cream concealer, liquid concealer, because I feel like it would work a lot better for me. But alas, that's the downside of having these dual products. It's meant to be more convenient, but it's almost like buying a bikini when you have to buy the top and the bottom in the same size. Not everybody's body is, built to be able to wear a small on top and small on bottom, or large on top and large on the bottom. Sometimes it's just better to mix and match. So I would absolutely love it if this stick concealer was just available for purchase by itself, because I would be all about it. So I'm not going to declutter this because I do use it a ton, but I just want to point that out to you guys. This is just not super full coverage. It's just kind of like a lighter consistency concealer. And if it's too dark on your under eyes, if it's too close to the color of your actual skin tone, your foundation, it's not going to give you that brightening effect. I have 3 Urban Decay concealers. This is the All Nighter concealer, and then I have 2 shades of the Naked Skin concealer. Do I need to keep all of these? That is a good question. These 2 my friend sent to me. This one I bought with my own money. I don't love this concealer. I feel like A, it's very expensive for the price and you don't get a lot of product. It's very, very full coverage, but it's kind of drying. Like, it's not as creamy as Shape Tape. The applicator is not as big. So I tend to use this more on the face for spot concealing. I don't like it in my under eye area because I just find it to be too heavy. But this is a dark shade for me. This is something that I would pretty much only wear in the summertime. It's too dark for me to wear right now. So, do I want to declutter this? Possibly. And then do I need both shades of this guy here? Let me swatch them and see. I kind of feel like I probably will keep light neutral and maybe declutter medium light neutral, if only because the light neutral is more brightening on the under eyes. This is a more lightweight, less full coverage concealer, and I like it to kind of like brighten up the under eye when I'm wearing lighter makeup for like that no makeup kind of day. So I don't necessarily feel like I need to keep both of these. There are the swatches, and as you can see, like medium light neutral is a lot darker. It's a lot less brightening. It would be better for coverage on the face than on the under eye. But I don't think I would use this consistency of concealer on the face as much. I'd like it more on the under eye area. So let's keep light neutral. I'm gonna pass along medium light neutral. And then what to do with this guy? I kind of hate just like getting rid of a product that's partially used up that I could technically finish, especially when there's not a lot of product in here. But I don't particularly love this. I don't know. So maybe what we'll say is this. Hold on to it for right now. I'm going to try to use this up because really I've had it for a while and I've used it a bit. And I would prefer to empty it than just like throw it away or something like that, or try to find someone that it will shade match. I can't think of someone right off the top of my head. So we'll see what I can do to actually finish it up. If not, in a few months, I'll get rid of it. This is another new guy I'm testing out. I picked up the matching concealer to go with the Photo Ready Candid Foundation. Don't love this. It is very thin as far as like coverage goes. This is the shade Light. It's very yellow and very light, which it's not terrible for me. I have more yellow undertones to my skin, but I just don't find the coverage on this to be particularly excellent. So I will be continuing to hold on to this because I am in the process of testing and reviewing it, but I don't think it's something that's going to stay in my collection long term because it's just not my favorite concealer I've used. And then finally, a couple of drugstore concealers, Maybelline Fit Me and the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. I have this in the shade C6, the Conceal and Define, and I think honestly it's a little bit too light for me. I probably should just declutter this because I don't find myself reaching for it because I don't think the shade is a great match. So the formula is all right. It's kind of full coverage-ish, but I think part of the reason why it doesn't cover the way I want it to is because it's too far off from my natural skin tone. It's like just too light and too pink. So this, easy declutter. And this guy, if you can see, is basically on its last legs. There's not a whole lot of product left in here, so I'm just going to try to use this guy up, finish it up, and I'm sure it will be departing my collection soon. But if you're in the market for a drugstore concealer, this one is great for the under eye area. It's very light, it blends out really nicely, it covers well, and it doesn't really crease and transfer. It's just like, it's a nice all-around concealer, and it's super cheap. So this is something I would definitely consider purchasing again in the future if I didn't, already have a million concealers on hand that I need to use up. And then we have setting powders. I have 4 and a half setting powders because technically this guy is a mini, and 2 pressed powders here. So this is, again, not an insane part of my collection. I've had my eye on a few new setting powders that I kind of would like to try. So I don't know how much decluttering I'm going to necessarily have to do here. This Pretty Vulgar Powder Room setting powder I got in a Boxy Luxe box in December. It's new to me and I'm really enjoying it so far. I really like that it comes with a puff inside. I've actually been really enjoying applying my powders with a puff recently over using a brush. So this is something that, aside from the fact that the packaging is absolutely stunning, I've been enjoying. It maybe provides just a tiny bit of coverage, but it mattifies really nicely and it doesn't make my skin look too cakey. So enjoy this. I'm going to be holding on to it. I also have the Milk Makeup Blur and Set Loose Translucent Powder, and this is the one powder I purchased for myself in 2018. It obviously still has quite a bit of product left in the jar, and I've been enjoying using this more now that it's winter time and my skin is not so insanely oily. I feel like it holds up a lot better than it did in the summer when I'm just like a mega grease ball. This is a very finely milled powder. It's very invisible on the skin when you set it. And again, I've been enjoying using this more with a puff than I ever have with a brush. And it comes with this weird sponge situation that I honestly never really use, but I bought the Beauty Blender puff and I've been using that with this. It has this little net in here that you essentially can just kind of dip the sponge into, or I can kind of flip it upside down with a sponge on top, get a little bit of product on there, pat it on my face, and I am good to go. So this is something I think I'm going to be using a lot more in especially the early half of 2019. It's a nice little setting powder. Now this guy's on its last legs. This is the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder. I have a little bit left in here, as you can see, but not a whole lot of product. This has been the powder I've been using for the majority of the last year. It was in my 2018 project pan. Obviously, I didn't finish it, but I'm getting there. So I am going to try to finish this up, use it all up. It is a nice setting powder, pretty finely milled. Again, kind of airbrushes your skin, makes it look very flawless, sets it down, but it is not quite as shine controlling as this guy. This is a sample I have of the matte setting powder. This is amazing if you have oily skin. It is much more shine controlling, so I like using this, especially on my T-zone and where I have large pores in the summer. But for an all-over setting powder, especially if you have more normal to dry skin, this guy is pretty excellent. I have this Motives setting powder, which surprisingly actually is not half bad. I had it in my everyday makeup drawer in December and used it a bit. It sets your makeup down nicely and it doesn't make it look too cakey, but will I reach for this? I don't know. I have so many other setting powders and I have other ones I want to try. I probably could pass this along to a friend, somebody else that could enjoy using it. And then I have 2 pressed powders. They're both from the drugstore. One is Catrice, one is Wet n Wild. These are both very affordable, under $8, I think. So here is the thing with these products. This one is meant to be more mattifying. This one's meant to be more soft focus on the skin. And I do like the finish of this. I just haven't reached for it in ages because I've been using loose setting powders more. I haven't really, I feel given this enough of a proper test to decide whether or not it's mattifying enough. So what I think I'm going to do is hold on to these both, use them a little bit more in 2019, especially this guy. I want to just develop more of my thoughts on it. This is nice to have on hand just to own a pressed powder. I'd like to have at least 1 or 2 that's not a foundation that has a lot of extra coverage in it. So I think I'm okay with holding on to these. We'll see if any other pressed powders kind of catch my eye this year. And then there was setting spray, of which I have way more than I know that I need. So I need to declutter some of this situation and then move it along. First thing that I see here that I know 100% I'm definitely going to keep is the Urban Decay All Nighter. This is probably my favorite setting spray, and honestly, I probably could just have this one and nothing else and be perfectly fine. I think that it is truly one of the only setting sprays I've used that actually makes your makeup last longer. Like, it seriously locks it in. Anytime I'm going into an event or I'm going out for the night and I want my makeup to look really good, this is what I reach for. And this is pretty much brand new. I just went through a travel size. I literally finished it up this weekend. So very excited to have a big one on hand. We'll be using it for sure. I also want to keep this Too Faced Hangover RX primer. I love the lotion one. This one I don't use so much to set my makeup because I think it makes it too dewy, but I do really like it as a priming spray. Sometimes, like, let's say you get up in the morning, you do your skincare, and it's a little while before you do your makeup. If you want like just like a quick refresh to your skin, this is really nice. It smells good. It doesn't have any alcohol, any silicones, any oils. It's just a really nice product. And also, and I'm going to get into this with a few other things, if I'm doing makeup on other people, which I do occasionally, like for friends and family, not professionally on like paid clients or anything, but when I am doing makeup on other people that especially have dry skin, this is the kind of thing that is a lifesaver for like prepping someone and just kind of helping their makeup to go on even better. So I enjoy having something a little bit more dewy and hydrating as just like an alternative to a mattifying setting spray. Now this guy, the Ofra Makeup Fixer, I honestly haven't used a single time yet. I literally just took the plastic off the packaging today, and I've had it for, I don't know, a year, which is insane. Like, I've had it in my collection for so long, but obviously I got a lot of setting spray, so I just hadn't gotten around to trying this out. I would like to test it though and let you guys know what I think, so I'm gonna try to add this into my rotation and try to make a more conscious effort to like use it and let you know what I think of it. No, I'm kind of hating on motives here today, but I'm probably going to pass along this 10 years younger setting spray. I might give this to my mom. I think she will enjoy it. Not that I think that she needs to look 10 years younger. She's beautiful as she is, but I don't think she owns a setting spray, and this one is actually pretty decent. It does a good job of holding your makeup in. I just really like the all-nighter a lot better, so if I'm looking for like a longevity based setting spray, that's the one I'm going to go for, and I have too much. I'm never going to be able to use this up, so just gonna pass it along. I have an Itty Bitty Baby MAC Fix Plus. I don't really like to use this all over my face as a setting spray because that makes me way too glowy, but I love it for foiling eyeshadows and pigments and such. So that's pretty much what I hold on to this for, and the little mini size is perfect for that use for me. And then this guy here, the Fix It Up Matte Setting Spray from Koki, is brand new to me. I got it at Gen Beauty and I haven't tested it out yet. So again, maybe this is something I'll try, see what I think. But unless it's like an absolute miracle product, I probably won't hold on to it. I would like to have a more affordable setting spray though in my collection because I really don't otherwise. Everything else has been high end. So I kind of would like to hold on to this if just to have a drugstore setting spray to use. Now this guy here is an interesting product. This is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water in the Serene Greens version. I got this in a Boxy Luxe box, and I actually do use this kind of for something weird. It's a primer spray. It has no silicone, no alcohol, so you just kind of use it to refresh your skin before you put on makeup. I also really love this to re-dampen my beauty sponges, which is so extra because I could just get up and use water, but sometimes you're in the middle of doing your makeup, you don't want to get up from your vanity, and you just want to re-dampen your sponge a little bit if you're kind of like blending in your makeup. I also feel like the added benefit of being a primer water, it has more than just water in there, so it does kind of help that foundation or concealer or whatever product you're kind of putting into your skin with your sponge to just kind of melt in and lock in a little bit better. So I like this. It's kind of one of those products that I probably wouldn't go out of my way to purchase and spend $30-something on, but since I have it and I got it in a subscription box, I definitely will use it. And then I have these 3 products, which are really tricky for me because I think all 3 of these products are excellent for doing what they say they are going to do. The question is, are they excellent for me with oily skin? The Morphe Continuous Setting Mist has probably the best mechanism of a sprayer of any setting spray that I've used because it's an aerosol can, so it continuously will spray. It has a very, very fine mist. It doesn't ever leave like dots or splotchy bits on your face. The only thing about this is that this is like a dewy finish setting spray. It doesn't necessarily lock your makeup in so much as it makes your makeup look like skin and kind of melts everything together. So this is something I would probably use sparingly, or use when maybe I'm going out for a few hours but I don't need my makeup to last a particularly long time and I just want it to look a little bit more natural, more quickly. But I feel like on a day-to-day basis, it makes me look hella greasy. So I like, do I get rid of it? Do I not get rid of it? I like using it on other people as well. Like if I'm setting someone else's face down and they don't have oily skin, it's so beautiful. So I like having it, but this is kind of like questionable. I feel the same way about both of these products. The Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray has a beautiful mister on it, but this is kind of essentially like glitter on your face. It has particles of shimmer. So it's not illuminating in the sense that it makes you dewy. It's illuminating in the sense that it adds like a fine shimmer all over your skin, which again is very situational as to when I'm going to actually use this. I would typically, like for an event going out at night when you're not in like bright direct light, it looks really pretty, but like day to day is not the kind of thing that I would reach for. You also could use it like on the body as well. I think Raw Beauty Christie suggested doing that, and I haven't tried that yet. So this again is something that I'm like, do I really need this? Probably not. I like it. I think it's a nice product. It just doesn't get a whole ton of use in my collection. And then this guy from Wander Beauty is honestly more of a skincare product in my mind than a makeup product. It is really beautiful. It has a lot of nice ingredients. It smells amazing. It's very refreshing. If your makeup is looking a little cakey, looking a little less than fresh, you can kind of just spritz this on and then maybe go in with a beauty blender and just kind of smooth things out, and it makes your makeup look really, really nice. I don't think that I have reached for this enough lately to like truly justify keeping it. But then again, maybe part of the problem is that I just don't think to reach for it. In general, I've been terrible with my setting sprays about just remembering to use them. So that may be an intention that I just need to set for 2019 of trying to use my setting sprays more regularly in my routine. So maybe what I'll say is, for now, I'll let myself hold on to something like this, but if in 6 months' time I'm still not reaching for this, it needs to go.
Alright guys, so this is what I'm keeping in terms of my base collection, all of my powders, setting sprays, foundations, concealers, and primers. And then this pile over here is what I'm decluttering, which is very small, I know, but I think as far as my complete base collection goes for an influencer, it's reasonable. And as I mentioned, a lot of these products are actually on their way to being completed. So this is going to slim itself down naturally in the next couple of months. And with the couple of products that I'm currently testing out, who knows, they may end up being decluttered if I don't enjoy them anyway. So this is kind of a representation of my collection at its biggest. It's definitely gonna get a little bit smaller.
So that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, especially if you watched this entire video and made it all the way to the end. You're a rock star. I hope this was helpful for you as well, whether you just want like a virtual person to hang out with while you're trying to declutter and organize your own stash or do chores around the house, or maybe you just wanted some good information about all these products. Either way, I hope this was beneficial to you in some way, and if it was, please give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate your feedback and your support. If you just can't wait till tomorrow for my next video and you want some more decluttering goodness in your life, I will link my playlist that has all of my declutter videos I've ever done on my channel up here for you guys in the cards as well as in the description box. That playlist also will be updating as the week goes on and these new declutter videos go live, so you can like bookmark it, come back to it later, or you can also just subscribe, and then that way you'll be kept in the loop anytime I'm uploading a new video. They'll show up in your subscription feed. You can also ring the notification bell if you want to know exactly the moment my videos are available to watch. Either way, I hope you guys are as excited about this series as I am. Definitely let me know in the comment section down below if you are planning on doing any kind of like New Year declutter or organization of your stash, if you have any good tips to share with the rest of us, or if there's anything you're particularly excited to go through in your makeup stash, ready to like let go of. Definitely let me know. I love chatting with you guys, and I know you guys also help out each other. So leave a comment, say hello, and on that note, I'm gonna let you guys get back to your lives. I feel like I've taken up enough of your time as it is already, but I hope you have a good one, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.